Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Diana, and the Reunion Committee for putting together this amazing event. For this outer-towner of Ann Arbor, it's pretty surreal being here. But it's wonderful being here. When I was beginning to compile and edit histories of different underground newspapers for my my Voices from the Underground series in the late 80s, early 90s, one of my friends, who himself had been a veteran of the underground press, asked me how I could spend so much time on such an esoteric topic. Fortunately, I had no idea what esoteric meant.
A little bit further away from you.
So I was undeterred. But since then, it's become a major amount of my research. And one of my great discoveries during that period, when I was working on the first edition of the series, was that my contributors were all still politically active. Now, this doesn't seem like a big deal, but remember, we were in it's only 15 years after the war ended, but already the country had veered dramatically to the right. We were living in Reagan's America. A good percentage of our generation had become yuppified. They weren't telling their kids about what they did during the war. Even though the Vietnam War produced the broadest, most diverse anti-war community in the history of our country. People who had been part of that era, they weren't talking about it anymore because they were scared. They were scared of losing their job. This was the atmosphere that our country was in 15 years later. So I was really pleased that my contributors were active. And of course, I'm looking out here right now 25 years later. And I know that all of you are politically active, and it's a great feeling. And I believe that the country is coming around again. I know we sometimes think it's worse than ever, but I see good signs. And we were persistent, we were patient, and of course we were right all along. And so it's nice to see them coming in our direction again. But another discovery I made, and our friend Jerry Rubin said it best, we are everywhere. Underground papers were everywhere during the Vietnam era. They were everywhere. They were in the urban, suburban, rural, ghetto, barrio, tribal, and other communities in every state of the Union and in countries around the world. They represented the gay, lesbian, feminist, black, Native American, Puerto Rican, Asian American, Chicano, senior citizen, high school, campus, community, psychedelic, anarchistic, counterculture, new age, prisoners' rights, rank and file, Southern consciousness, and other alternative voices of the period. There were underground papers in every branch of the military, every branch. There were over 900 underground papers that were published by or directed to members of the military. Support the troops? You're damn right we supported the troops. Nobody supported the troops like we did. Underground papers, they were everywhere. And each underground paper addressed the unique needs of its own audience, but they were all united against the war. It was amazing. So here we are at a major celebration for Berkeley Barb, one of the legends, one of the original 5 members of Underground Press Syndicate, the first countercultural network, nationwide network of underground papers. My hat's off. My hat's off to all of you folks out there who were part of this history. You are an amazing, remarkable family of legends and heroes and friends, and I'm really honored to be here. I'm really honored. And congratulations also to those of you from the 80s and 90s who are carrying on the struggle that we handed off to you. You are the new leadership, and we're still there. We're not retired yet. We're still, we're still. We got goals to achieve, fantasies to live, as Andy would have said. Live our fantasies, remember. But the torch has been passed. Our challenge now is our mission is to record our stories, to share them with the younger generation, to share our lessons and our struggles. And here's what you're going to find. Here's what you're going to find when you begin talking to the younger generation. Most of them have no idea what we did back when. They have no idea. A journalist wrote to me recently. She said, it's interesting how little the underground press plays in the popular conception of the 60s and the 70s, despite how vibrant the scene seemed to be. Now we can argue about the reasons, but he's right. He's right. Even political bloggers who are our natural heirs, for the most part, they have no idea of their own political roots. They have no idea. So here's my challenge to all of you. Okay, we're in the middle of a celebration. I'm giving you a challenge. But here's our challenge. Record your stories, okay? Now. Record your stories now. Produce movies, publish books, post blog entries, write letters to your kids. But get your stories down, because if you don't write your own stories, someone else is going to write them for you, and they're not going to be the stories you remembered, or the stories you want others to remember. We're here at the Berkeley Barb reception. Berkeley needs a history. Even if it's an anthology of multiple contributors, get it out now. Get it down there. Teach your children. Teach your children and your children's children. I'm pleased at the reunion committee for inviting me here to share my current adventure in preserving the voices of our generation, including the Barb. When we're done, we will have digitized over 1,000 titles, representing over 750,000 pages of exact keyword searchable digital reproductions of underground alternative and literary newspapers and magazines from the 50s through the 80s, including all the genres that I mentioned earlier. We even have 4 papers published by the FBI to sow dissension in the movement. And we could do a lot more if we had more funding. So all of you rich heirs out there, I know you're sitting here somewhere. Let's talk. We need to talk because we need more funding. Trina Robbins in her keynote talked about the role of women in the underground press. The digital collection already has approximately 120 feminist and lesbian newspapers, including, of course, the Bay Area's own It Ain't Me Babe, which was the first nationwide feminist underground newspaper, and one, of course, that was honored to carry many of Trina's covers and cartoons. Sometime after January 2017, the collection is going to go into open access, which means that it will be freely available to anybody through a simple keyword search. Right now, while we're in production, it's only accessible to patrons of our supporting libraries. Fortunately, Berkeley, and in fact the entire UC system, is a supporter. So if you have access to any of the UC libraries, you can get into it. And if not, if you don't have access, 2 things. First of all, talk to your librarians and tell them to get on board. And second of all, we've put aside about 24 titles, I think 22 to be exact, that already are going to be open access immediately, so that people who don't have access to the complete collection can at least get into it and see what it looks like. And in honor of this celebration, one of those titles is the Berkeley Barb. So it is already immediately in open access. Now, it's not complete yet. It's not complete yet. We're building it. One of the features of our collection is we're working with a growing team of sourcing libraries. What they're doing is they're sending us complete, original copies of newspapers that we scan and digitize and return to them in good shape. By working with multiple libraries, we're able to create complete runs out of titles that the libraries only hold in part. And this is going to include the Barb. We're working with a growing team of libraries, but also a number of individuals who are actually sitting right here are sending us copies from your garages, your attics, wherever you're holding the old issues. And we're putting together, and by the time we're done, we're going to have, as far as we can see, the first complete run of the Berkeley Barb. And it's going to be all keyword searchable. That's just very, very exciting to me.
So what's the search keyword for the collection?
It's we're actually just changing platforms right now, but if you search for voices.revealdigital.com, if you've got one of the flyers that I've been handing out there, it's got information on it, so grab that. But you can get into it through that. I became aware of the Barb before Kent State, which is when I became political. I was visiting my brother who was living in Manhattan Beach, and I was listening to Johnny Rivers singing Going Back to Big Sur. I realized that Big Sur was only 400 miles north on Highway 1. And so the next morning, I packed 2 days' worth of clothes and camping gear into my laundry bag, slung it over my left shoulder, and rode my right thumb up Highway 1. It was 1969, and I remember that because it was the first of what would turn out to be 10 years worth of hitchhiking adventures. And I learned later on that that was the year that Jack Kerouac died. So naturally, I drew a psychic connection between two generations of hitchhikers. But 3 rides took me out of the Los Angeles area, and then I got picked up by 4 long-haired hippies, 2 male and 2 female, who were driving, cliche alert, a VW microbus with multicolored swirls and shooting stars painted on the side. There was so much smoke coming out of the car that I was high by the time I sat down. Somewhere before I passed out with a big grin on my face, someone handed me a copy of the current issue of the Barb. I'm pretty sure that's why I had a grin on my face when I passed out. Later, to this kid growing up in the east side suburbs of Cleveland, who had not yet achieved political consciousness, the Barb was outrageous with its graphics and its cartoons and its layout. And it told me that there was something different out there, something that I couldn't ignore. Later, when I became political at Michigan State, I began to read the underground papers there, including The Paper, which was one of the first 5 members of Underground Press Syndicate. And that's when I discovered that the Barb also had been one of the first 5. Berkeley was the epicenter of the counterculture. The Barb was the voice of Berkeley. The 60s was an amazing era, one of the most colorful, stimulating, significant, and divisive periods in our young country's history. I've never been one to apologize for the supposed excesses of the period, and I'll bet none of you are either. Were we excessive? Of course we were. We changed the world for the better, and the world is continuing to get better because of what we did then and what we're still doing. So my congratulations to the Berkeley Barb for being a major player in that historic era. Thank you.